Hey guys, welcome back to Shop Life. Here's a video that should help out a lot of people that are just getting into these E46s. Since the prices are declining rapidly, you can easily get a decent E46 for about $3,000 to $4,000. Most of these cars are going to have high mileage and they're not going to come with maintenance records. So this video is going to show you guys the basic maintenance that's going to be required once you usually get the car. Two of the guys that have actually been commenting on one of my videos, Randy and Matt, they were commenting on one of my videos going back and forth about their cars, what they should do for maintenance and whatnot. So this video is also to help them out as well. What I'm about to tell you guys, I've organized it into sections on what you should do, like as soon as you get the car, and stuff that you can do while you're doing something else. So while you're already there, might as well go ahead and take care of it since it's going to be a lot easier for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So you just got the car. It doesn't matter what kind of E46 it is. Alright, so as soon as you get the car, what you're going to want to do first is with the oil, what I highly recommend is Castrol 0W40 or Mobil 1 0W40. Both of them are European formula. So you can get both of those at Walmart. They're about $23 to $25 for each 5-quart jug. And you're going to need 2 jugs because most of the E46s, they take 7 quarts approximately. So you're going to need both of those. For oil filter, I highly recommend a Manhommel 9254X. You can get that at any auto parts store or you can order it online. And if you plan on keeping the car, go ahead and order a whole bunch of them. They don't really go bad. They have a good shelf life. Transmission fluid. So for transmission fluid, it all depends on what kind of transmission you have. In most cases, if you do have a GM transmission, you can just use the Valvoline Dexmark, the one that comes in a red jug. You can find that at Walmart for $17. So go ahead and buy that from there. 1 5-quart is more than enough for you. You should take about 4 to 5 quarts in automatic transmissions. If you have a manual transmission, I prefer to stick with Pentosan MTF. You can find that at O'Reilly. Even I think Advance is starting to carry that as well. CarQuest, all those places have that as well. If you have a different type of automatic transmission, they also have Pentosan for the automatic transmissions. So you can go ahead and get that for that as well. So now, power steering fluid. So for power steering fluid, I do recommend draining and try to get as much of the old stuff out as you can. And what you're going to replace it with is that 5-quart jug from Walmart of the Valvoline Max Life Dexmark on. It's the red bottle. Make sure you get the red bottle. It's a fully synthetic transmission fluid. So it's automatic transmission fluid. That's what you're going to use for the power steering. So now we're going to do the differential fluid. For differential fluid, I highly recommend you go to the dealer or ECS tuning. Just get the OEM fluid. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but just get the OEM fluid. That's going to be your best bet. And lastly, what you're going to want to do is brake fluid. So brake fluid, you can use .4, and this you are going to flush out. The way you're going to do that, I highly recommend that you get a pressure bleeder. You can get those off of ECS tuning or any other places with the adapter for the E46 for like about $40. And then the fluid itself should be about $20 if you get the good kind. So that's it for all of the oils and fluids that you should be doing as soon as you get the car. Now we're going to go ahead and go on to the next step, which is a very, very, very common problem on the E46s, the cooling system. And that is what causes most of the E46s to die. So as is the case with this motor right here. So this is what you want to do right after you do all the fluids. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a water pump, a thermostat, both radiator hoses, expansion tank. If you have an automatic, you're going to need the automatic transmission thermostat because when you pull the expansion tank off, that thermostat is going to break. So you're going to need that as well. If you get a new expansion tank, you're going to also need that level sensor if yours does not come out of the old one. So I would go ahead and get that. That way you're not stranded if you do end up breaking your old one. So go ahead and buy that. It's another $30 or $40 part. Just go ahead and do it. Trust me, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and headache when you get it. So if you don't have automatic transmission, you're not going to have to worry about that. The next, what you're also going to want to get are all the belts. So the serpentine belt and the AC belt, both drive belts pretty much. You can also go ahead and get pulleys and tensioners if any of yours are bad. You can usually hear it when they're starting to go bad. If you don't know if it's been replaced and if it doesn't look like it's been replaced, go ahead and buy them. And of course you're going to need coolant. I would get 1 whole gallon of the BMW coolant. Do not use anything else but the BMW coolant. If you have something besides the BMW coolant already in it, make sure you flush all that out. You can just flush it out with, get like 4 or 5 gallons of distilled water and just keep pouring it in until all you see is distilled water coming out. And also while you're doing this, when you're taking off the water pump, thermostat, all that stuff, you're gonna take off a lot of the pulleys and you're gonna be very close to the oil filter housing gasket. This is where I would go ahead and do it. The oil filter housing gasket is a $4 part. It'll save you a lot more time if you have to end up doing it later on. So go ahead and do that as well. So for most of these cooling systems, there's a lot of kits available on FCP Euro and even ECS tuning. That's why I recommend just get the whole kit. Most of the stuff I said should be included. It won't include the oil filter housing gasket or pulleys and tensioners and stuff like that, but you can buy those separately. I'll just go ahead and buy the kit. It's gonna save you a lot more money that way. All right, so after you've taken care of that, now we're gonna go and address some more common areas of oil leaks. So the valve cover gasket. That valve cover gasket is about $70 including all the grommets, and you'll see oil on the exhaust manifold shields, and you'll smell it when you're driving with the heat on. You'll smell it inside the cabin. So the valve cover gasket, while you're doing that, might as well go ahead and do the spark plugs and ignition coils. If you don't do the valve cover gasket, I still recommend just checking out those spark plugs and ignition coils and go ahead and take care of those as well. Ignition coils are not really that big of a deal. You'll get, when they start malfunctioning, you'll get a code and it'll start misfiring like crazy. Spark plugs, I would recommend go ahead and do them if they haven't been done in a while. They're easy to check. You just pull off just the first one. You can just pull that first ignition coil out, pull the spark plug out, and just look at the model. If it says BMW on it, that means it hasn't been replaced recently and it's probably the original ones. So now we're gonna go ahead and go to the next section, which is related to most of the vacuum system. A lot of the E46s don't run right because of potential problems with vacuum. So what I highly recommend is replace all of the vacuum lines. If even one of them is bad, I guarantee you most of them are bad. Most people do not go the extra step and replace all of them in the back and whatnot. So I would recommend go ahead and doing all of it. So your best bet is to pull the intake manifold and just do all of them all at once. So you have the secondary air pump vacuum line, you've got the ones in the back that just go to like a loop, then you've got the intake boots, go ahead and do those. You've got the CCV, which is easiest with the intake manifold removed. You've got the DISA valve. I would check that flap, make sure it still has some sort of spring loaded on it, and if it doesn't, then replace that DISA valve, the DISA valve O-ring that goes around it. And you can go ahead and also clean the throttle body, clean the idle control valve, just clean all that stuff up. And there's the vacuum lines, you can get them from Advanced Auto Parts. What I usually use is 3/16 fuel hose, and that's perfect if it's nice and tight and everything is actually more durable than normal vacuum line. So you can just go ahead and use that. The CCV, you can get a whole kit off of ECS Tuning, FCP Euro. You can, if you live in like climates where it gets very, very cold, make sure you get the cold climate version. If you are going to be tracking the car or just, doing autocross, anything like that, you can actually go ahead and do like a CCV delete and put an oil catch can or something like that. All right, so that's pretty much it when it covers the engine and the drivetrain. That's pretty much all the stuff that you should be taking care of. And remind you, this is basic stuff. And I understand a lot of people don't want to fix something until it breaks, which is completely fine. I mean, I understand. A lot of people don't have all the funds just right away just to dump in a car that they just bought. But I would highly recommend, if you don't do most of the other things, do the cooling system, because that is a huge, huge expense if something doesn't go wrong. So, and if you are replacing one part of the cooling system, do it all. Seriously, just do it all. It's not that much more expensive. All the cooling, you get the whole cooling kit, even with the radiator and everything, for like 650 bucks. And that's insurance for you, knowing that that's gonna last. So I'm gonna be doing DIYs on everything that I don't already have a DIY for. And as I keep doing them, I'll post them in the description.